Namaste and welcome. Today it is such a pleasure to welcome to Lokvani Manisha Jain, who has been elected to become the president of Ekal Vidyalaya Foundation New England chapter. Manisha is not new to Ekal. She has served as a very solid volunteer and donor for Ekal for many years. She has actually been a leader in the Boston area's education sector for past 25 years. She's also very actively involved in the community as a volunteer for several organizations, including, of course, Ekal, the Palakurti Foundation, Hindi Manch, Saheli, IIFFB, and the Triveni School of Dance. During COVID, she started her own organization, Sue We Care, and galvanized 150 community members to provide 25,000 PPEs to local hospitals and other organizations. Manisha was honored as one of the 20 outstanding women of 2020-2021 by India New England News and was awarded the Excellence in Community Service in Healthcare Award for the year. Welcome to Lokvani, Manisha. Namaste.
Namaskar, Ranjani ji. Thank you so much for your kind words and introduction.
It's such a pleasure, Manisha, to have you on as the leader for Ekal Vidyalaya Foundation of New England. So could you tell me what motivated you to take on this very big responsibility for Ekal? You've been a volunteer, you've been a supporter for many years, but this is a big responsibility. So what motivated you to kindly give you a time to do that?
Sure, absolutely. First of all, I'm extremely honored and humbled that this confidence and trust was placed in my abilities. You know, it's a very grave responsibility, and I take it very, very seriously. But somewhere deep inside me, I feel that there is some stroke of divinity, you know, that I was chosen and I'm fortunate enough to have this path of seva. I feel like not everybody gets that opportunity, and I'm really very thankful that I was chosen for this path of seva. And you know, you're asking me what motivated me to take this on. First of all, I have inherited this Ekal Parivar, right, for so many years, where it's an army of volunteers who serve with their tan, man, and dhan. And they are the ones who have inspired me to take this on. You know, I feel like I you know, almost like the Pied Piper of Hamelin. Sorry, you know, I'm a teacher, lifelong educator, so those analogies come to the forefront. But I feel like I want to take their work and take Ekal's mission forward, the shared mission for which they are all working. So that is what has motivated me to take on this work. And I look forward to everyone's support and blessings as I take this on.
Fantastic, Manisha. You really said it right. I think it's a, Sahriday, a lot of like-minded people coming together, and being that Piper is a big responsibility. Thank you for doing that. And I know that immediately you have a big task on hand, which is there is a concert that is coming up on May 13th. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. Before I talk about that, can I talk about why, you know, there are so many wonderful organizations doing so much, you know, at the grassroots level. But for me, Ekal strikes a very special chord in my heart. And, you know, it all started a few years ago when dear friends of ours, Manorma and Bhaskar Panigrahi, very well known in the community, they invited us over to a little evening in their home where we learned about Ekal. And another very good friend of mine, Juju, Anuradha Palakurti, was there. And she said, Manisha, I saw a chamak on your face while you were listening to all the presentations. Wow. She's very perceptive, and she's right. You know, as I was listening, it was like I felt like I've come home. I've landed. You know, this is something that I want to do. And the work of Ekal seemed different. You know, it is a nonprofit organization that what drew me was, of course, the $1 a day schools, being a teacher at heart. But then I heard about how that had all evolved into this holistic and integrated, you know, village, an approach where the entire villages were being made self-reliant. through women empowerment, through health, through quality education. And most importantly, this was done at a level where no man has ever gone before. This is being done in the remotest rural areas of India, where sometimes even access is not viable. And for me, this was mind blowing that so much has already happened, and so much is still remains to happen, and we all need to come together to do this. So that's what drew me to Ekal, and I have been involved with Ekal since then, as you mentioned, as a volunteer and as donors. Most importantly, as volunteers, I feel that is really important. And very excited about our upcoming event on May 13th, which is Mother's Day weekend. And this Mother's Day weekend, Ekal New England chapter brings to you a Bollywood concert, Ma Tujhe Salam. And we celebrate all the mothers and, most importantly, our own Bharat Mata and the underprivileged kids of Bharat Mata. And this will be a Bollywood concert celebrating the musical diversity of India, as mainly Bollywood. And we will have Vishwanath Batunge and his group of the Saregama fame, who will be, entertaining us for 2 hours and including some very heart-tugging numbers, numbers which even to date, when I hear those songs, my eyes are moist. So get ready for some good fun, as well as a real, concert which brings feelings to the forefront.
That is fantastic, Manisha. You said so many things in that, one question. And I think, first, of course, I would love to encourage people to come to the May 13th concert, because these artists are really very well renowned in India. And so it's going to be 5 wonderful artists doing a lot of beautiful music. And Ekal is famous for its musical concerts. So we look forward to having people there. But what you said about Ekal itself, which is that it goes where no one else goes, and there is no competition for our work there, unfortunately, because really it is reaching out to those who are really most in need. And so I really think you highlighted that very clearly, and clearly told me, even before I asked you why Ekal, I can see that Ekal is in your heart, and that's why that came out first, that it is a platform for change. And but I wanted to ask you, somehow you seem to be drawn to both education and to philanthropy a lot. Can you tell me a little bit about what in your life, motivates you to do both of this, and you do them with such passion?
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for your kind words, Ranjani. So, yes, I do believe in selfless service. I have to thank my parents for instilling those values of humility, hard work, and service in me. And I firmly believe that the world is interconnected, and the fate of, our fate and the fate of those who we love is tied to everyone else in the world. And we have been very fortunate, people like you and me have been very fortunate that we are where we are in our life today. And the entire world has just emerged from this most unprecedented event in our lives, which shook the world to its very core. And I feel it is our responsibility to help those who are most vulnerable and those who have been most impacted by what life dealt to them, through no fault of theirs. And so this selfless service concept actually, started in during COVID time for me, as you mentioned, when there was this huge anxiety about what is happening, and I felt like I have to do something. I have to, being an educator, I always believed in creating a difference, making an impact. And I made my first mask, and then before I know it, through the generosity of so many members, we achieved the impossible of making 25,000 masks and donating. And that filled me with so much gratitude. And the whole thing of people coming together, that people's movement, which for Ekal is also a people's movement, that was really very powerful for me. And I realized that that's what's giving me happiness and peace in my life. And I believe in that philosophy that I am because we are, and we need to walk together and make a difference in people's lives and do what we can, whatever little bit we can. So that's where my sense of service and philanthropy stems from. Coming to education, yes, I have been in education all my life. Back in India, I was teaching. And then when I came here, I started teaching here. I actually taught academically gifted kids for more than 2 decades. And I strongly believe that their gifts have no meaning. That's what I always taught my students, that your gifts have no meaning till you use them for the common good of others. So that was really important for me. And I feel like all education is wasted. I didn't believe in teaching my students how to count, but I believed in teaching them what really counts. And so that those I think education taught me service, and service taught me education. But I will always be thankful, and I consider myself a lifelong learner and a lifelong server. So
that is really, really beautiful. Don't teach them what to count, tell them what counts. I think that is really important. And I will say this, right? I think that's why you're drawn to Ekal, because Ekal in its education also, even to our very underprivileged, when we are teaching them, in addition to teaching them to count, we are teaching them community service. And that's a very important part of, we are enabling them to be change makers.
Right. Yeah. That's what I noticed, that it's not like just these little schools where, we are feeding them information. First of all, we are actually creating these communities who can be self-reliant. We are teaching them what really, really counts and how they can work towards their own betterment. Yeah. So that is really
fantastic, Manisha, that you picked on those things. And I see that that's why you chose Ekal as an organization to, Tanmandan contribute, which is as a donor, as a volunteer, and now this big, giving so much of your time to be a leader for the New England chapter. So what can we expect? What are your visions and thoughts for the New England area? We are very excited. So.
Right. No, huge responsibility. And I see myself as, like a little igniter of candles. That's how I viewed myself as a teacher, that I was igniting these little flames. Yeah. And I see myself in this position as the president of the New England chapter for Ekal, is that I want to take Ekal's message far and wide, along with the team of volunteers who are already working. Luckily, we have a very robust, foundation here. But I want to make Ekal's name known to every household here. I want people to see what all is being done. There's such a fine line between caring and indifference. I believe inherently people are all good, but there's that fine line between caring and indifference, and you just need a spark to turn people from indifferent to caring. And I want to be the one to be able to do that. I want to join more and more people into Ekal's fold. And, like, for example, Ekal has this beautiful vision that they have come up with called integrated village development, where it's a cluster of 30 villages. And basically, having approaches where developmental approaches where these villages can be completely self-reliant. And for people to see that this can happen and this is being done is so powerful. Feed, what is that important quote? Give a man a fish and feed him for a day, but teach him how to fish and you are feeding him for a lifetime. So let's, I want to just galvanize the forces of Ekal and get more and more people involved and just make a difference in where really difference needs to be made.
I think you really are hitting upon a couple of very important points, that all you want to do is give people the opportunity to get involved,
exactly.
And the point, I think once people are aware, like you said, everybody is really wants to make a difference and they are looking to the right platform. And I think, I look forward to, seeing the message of Ekal reach every household under your
Right.
leadership.
Like, I wish my kids growing up, they're much older now, but I wish I knew about the Ekal Youth Leader program. I did not know about it, but I would like people to know how our youth leaders are creating such a difference and how they are becoming better citizens by their involvement with Ekal. So that is huge. And, just inviting people over to become a part of this wonderful organization.
It's so interesting. The first Ekal youth leader who came out of Chicago, this is many years ago. I mean, talking about, he is now a doctor. And he has come back to be on the advisory committee for our telemedicine program. And actually, he has two young kids, and then he spent 6 months in Nepal as a Fulbright scholar and wants to bring preventative health. So I think Ekal is a big circle that keeps giving and keeps
Mangalam
on
Shubham,
giving.
as you say, Ranjani ji, Mangalam Shubham. I
Mangalam.
just had the good opportunity to meet one of Ekal's youngest volunteers. I believe he was 6 years old when he, created this penny matching program. Again, I was not aware of that, but just to hear all these amazing stories is very heartwarming.
It's really true. It's really true. And of course, the Ekal children themselves in the villages who are going on to do so much in the world,
Those success stories, I want to share those success stories and tell them to the entire community and to see that, yes, your every little drop makes a difference. Your contribution is making a difference.
So, well, I really thank you for your time, Manisha, for taking the time to talk to Lokvani, and of course, really grateful for you to take on the leadership role of this volunteer organization, giving so much of your time, and your commitment. And I really am excited to see the opportunities that you are going to bring to Ekal and, of course, to New England as they become part of such an important cause and a mission. Thank you so much, Manisha.
Thank you, Ranjani ji. Before I end, I want to thank people like you, Ram Nehra ji, Puran Uncle, Kamlesh Auntie, so many leaders in our community who have inspired us, who have showed us the way to go forward. And I hope, we all work together to bring your visions to life.
Mangalam Shubham, Mangalam Shubham. Ramji Nera is the foundation pillar. Dr. Subra Dravida, is the president of Ekal New England of USA, and so many others.
And so many others, Amrit ji, Raksha ji, Parveen Menocha ji. I mean, there's just, Jharna. I always look up to Jharna for all that she has done, being involved with India. So thank you to everyone who is always thinking of others.
Of course, of course. Thank you so much, Manisha ji. Namaste. Mangalam.
No.